What's trending, presented by Tim Daly Nissan, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. 12th ranked BYU men's basketball. Let's just let that sink in for a moment, shall we?
Yeah.
12th ranked BYU men's basketball.
Ties the high on the Pope here.
Wild. Just 2 days away from their Big 12 opener against Cincinnati, and the 12-1 Cougars have certainly exceeded expectations here in Studio B.
No, this is exactly what we thought. What are you talking about?
But they obviously face the biggest challenge, arguably, in the history of BYU men's basketball, that of competing in the Big 12 Conference. Unbelievable
Bring it on.
Ahead, beginning with the Bearcats. Let's just go ahead and take a gander at some of the numbers and metrics that are saying certain things about BYU, shall we? And then discuss how that impacts our predictions for BYU in Big 12 play. So, if you haven't heard, ESPN's Basketball Power Index currently gives BYU the second best chance to win the Big 12, to win the conference.
Blue goggle alert.
Yeah.
Blue goggle alert.
Well then.
Blue goggle alert.
10.8%. That's over Kansas and Baylor and Iowa State, trailing only Houston. Houston has been otherworldly good in their metrics. Their defense is real.
Oh, yeah, they're Final Four good. Of course.
87.1% chance for the other Cougars from Houston. But, Jarom, second in the Big 12. Are you kidding me? Okay. It also projects BYU's record in conference to be essentially 12-6, as they say they will finish second.
I'd take that.
The 14 toughest remaining schedules, also according to the Basketball Power Index, across the entire country. So the 14 toughest schedules in the country are all Big 12 teams.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Of those 14 teams, interestingly enough, BYU apparently has the weakest of those 14 Big 12 schedules. So BYU's schedule falls all the way to 14th toughest in the country.
Not as hard as we thought, Spence. Just the 14th toughest in these United States.
Wild. Okay, so it's one thing to say, all right, ESPN clearly likes BYU, but it's not just ESPN. We've discussed at length on this program that it's all over. It's the net. It's specifically Ken Pom, who predicts that BYU, according to his numbers, if they continue this way that they're playing, will go 13-5.
13-5.
Big 12.
Really, BYU's going to be a 3 seed. That's Lenardi right now. That's what he's feeling.
13-5 won the Big 12 regular season last year for Kansas.
You know what? Jayhawks, we're coming for you.
That would be 25-6 overall. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And second in the
2
league
seed.
behind only Houston in Ken Pom. Okay, so with all those wild numbers in mind,
Those are excessive.
what the heck do you expect BYU to do in the Big 12 when the actual games begin?
Yeah, I think realistically, given everything that's happened and how tough the Big 12 is going to be, I'm thinking that BYU can go 10-8.
Okay.
A game above 500, that puts you in a position where you're going to be in the top half of the league. You're going to be a single-digit seed for sure. I would think that'd be a 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever seed. You're getting the 22, 23-plus wins, right, depending on how you do in Kansas City at the tourney. I believe BYU will go 6-3 at home, 4-6 on the road.
Okay.
I can't tell you exactly what wins and what losses. I'm thinking at Baylor's tough, Houston at home's tough, at Oklahoma, at Kansas State, at Kansas. Those are the 5 that kind of stick out of like, okay, those are probably your top 5 toughest games on the schedule, plus 3 others. But if BYU goes 10-8, let's go, man. Let's go. Like, I would still take, even as well as BYU has played, 9-9 right now. And it'd be like, whoa, you go from 12-1 to 500. It's like, well, we all know the Big 12's tough. That means you got 9 quad 1 or 2 probably wins. Let's say at West Virginia might, or UCF at home might be like a quad 3 if they struggle or whatever. Probably a quad 2. 10-8, 9-9, something in there. Let's go. Because that means you would be like a 6 seed. Like, you would be in a great position. Even if you're not 10-8, you're 9-9. Oh, my gosh. 21 wins going into Kansas City. Let's get a win there. Maybe 2. Who knows? And you're in a great position. So, this is so different from what we've done before. We've been like, you got to beat Gonzaga, St. Mary's. Don't lose to anybody else. No, this is like just figure out a way to go 500-ish.
Yeah, where is the potential bad loss for BYU on the schedule outside of home to UCF?
Yeah.
There's not another, even a potential
What's
Had a bad loss.
What's Oklahoma State at the moment? That one sticks out a little bit. But, yeah, no, these are good teams, dude. Like, Oklahoma State's 129. So that's a quad 2 on the road. At home, that would be quad 3.
Okay.
At the moment, they're going to go up in net because they're about to play one of the top 14 toughest schedules.
Yes.
Now, you do like, in the end, you remember how football is like, oh, strong start, tough finish. BYU, as of now, of all the Big 12 teams, yes, 14th toughest in the country. I'm not acknowledging that. But it is a little easier on things considered because you got UCF a couple of times, you got Oklahoma State a couple of times. Like, some of the more winnable things, you don't have Kansas twice. You don't have Houston twice. Like, that is nice.
You don't have Texas twice.
You don't have Texas twice. So that's good. I like how, as of now, things
BYU
can
have
change.
Oklahoma twice?
I think just the one,
Once.
right?
And Oklahoma's been amazing this year.
Oklahoma's been pretty good. They're 29 in net. They're ranked. So, yeah, just once with Oklahoma. How it shakes out, as of now, things can change. It's January 4th. We really should be concerned about March 10th,
yes.
right? Once we know what happened in play, but in Big 12 play completely. But I like how it's looking so far, and I would take 99 right now.
I would like to remind everyone, and I did this yesterday, but again, if you missed it, let's go ahead and just rewind a couple of months before BYU took on Houston Christian, and you and I sat here and thought, okay, if BYU could win 6 conference games,
yeah, that would be
incredible. Yeah, 6 and 12. Like, nothing to hang your head about with that. My expectations have bumped up 3 games. Like, I expect BYU to go 9-9. The potential to have a winning record in the Big 12 is clearly there if they can piece together what they've been doing consistently for 13 games with this style of play. I know the competition is going to get super tough. Like, it's going to take a huge uptick night in and night out. But why would that drastically change the way that BYU plays? Like, BYU's good players aren't going to go away all of a sudden. Their home court advantage is not going to go away. They took care of business against a tournament team in San Diego State at home. Why would they not do that against good teams like San Diego State more often than not on their home floor? So I'm with you. I expect BYU to go 6-3 at the Marriott Center, maybe 7-2.
What about at the Marriott Center? How are they going to play there?
Yeah, I don't know. That place is a little weird. Okay. But the Marriott Center, I expect BYU to win at least 6 games. Yeah, and maybe 7-2. Like, protecting your home court is everything, especially in this conference, if you want to make the NCAA tournament. I think BYU can steal 3 games on the road. You think they might get 4, and that's what would put them over the top and give them a winning record. Is
yeah, that's the
win
difference.
away
I think
from
one
home?
more road game.
But 9-9 is my expectation, which is plus 3 or 4 wins from where we were just a couple of months ago.
Our expectations should change based on how
yes,
played.
yes.
They should. If they don't, what are we doing?
But 9-9 would
you got to
put
live in the moment
BYU
you're in a little bit.
going into the Big 12 tournament. If BYU went 9-9 in league play in the regular season, they would be 21-10 going to Kansas City. Like, 9-9, in my opinion, because the league is so tough, would give BYU a 5 or a 6 seed going into whatever they do in Kansas City. If they win a game in Kansas City, awesome. Then lock them in, baby. Lock them in as a 6 seed and a favorite in a first-round game.
You probably need one more win to help you out there. But if not, it doesn't really matter. Here's the thing with 31 regular season games and 1 to 4 whatever Big 12 tournament games, which, by the way, we haven't seen officially how that bracket's going to shape out. Like, if you're the 11 through 14 teams, you're showing up on like Tuesday or something and then hoping you can win a game or 2 or whatever. Those teams are the ones that are going to be like NIT-ish. So we'll see. But the 31 games, one game does not make a huge difference in what seed you're going to have. It rarely does that one final win push you over the top of something. Now, if BYU was in the quarters and suddenly they pulled off an upset over like a Kansas or Houston or something to get to the semis, now maybe that helps you go from a 6 to 5 or 5 to 4, perhaps at the very end. But there won't be the thing that we will love the most about the Big 12 is there's no bad losses, and that even with BYU being number 2 in net. Like, if BYU goes to number 167 in net West Virginia and loses, we will be disappointed. And it will be a quad, 3 barely maybe or whatever.
But guess what? Raekwon Battle and a couple of other players automatically make West Virginia like a way better team. They're about to win some games and not be a quad 3 game anymore.
Yes. There's no such thing as a bad quad 1 or 2 loss. There are quad 3 and quad 4 bad losses, but they don't really exist here. Pepperdine, losing there. Pacific, losing there. We will not have this ever again. Like, it is awesome. Now, next year when Arizona State comes in, and if they're a quad 3 or something, who knows? But it's still Arizona State. It's like a name. There's a certain amount of pride associated with.
Sure.
You don't lose to one of those guys. Which, by the way, would BYU have won the WCC this year?
Maybe, because Gonzaga is not
St. Mary's
nearly
has
what
struggled.
they have been, and St. Mary's has struggled.
Somebody misses the ex-girlfriend. They are not on the rebound. They are struggling. BYU moves to one other neighborhood, and now the neighborhood parties suck. BYU, I think, where will BYU finish in the Big 12 standings? You mentioned 5th or 6th, do you think?
You go 9-9. I think it's like tied for 6th. It's going to be a big jumble. Right?
I had 6th. Maybe it's 7. Just around there. It's not really about where BYU finishes in the league. It's about what the resume looks like. What is the net? How many quad 1 and quad 2 wins and losses do you have?
Guess what? The wins over San Diego State and NC State, they appear to be ready to carry over.
NC State beat Notre Dame with 0.1 seconds left.
San Diego State just
night.
embarrassed Gonzaga in Spokane.
Yeah.
Right? Like those wins are going to be quality wins. Those teams were real, and BYU beat them head-to-head. And Arizona State, frankly, is getting a little bit better as well.
They were real, and they were spectacular. I expect BYU to play well in the Big 12. Well looks like 500-ish. Like if BYU's 8-10, that was 8 quad 1 or quad 2 wins.
Yes.
Like BYU has gotten into the tournament like barely on like 3 or 4. We're talking about BYU potentially having 8, 9, or 10 quad 1, quad 2 type wins. That is a great number, and it's nice to be in a place where you don't have the pressure of having to go like 14-2 in league or whatever.
Yes.
Now BYU can go 500 and have a ton of quality.
BYU is going to, with the backing of one of the best home crowds and floors in the entire country.
It's going to be so fun.
They're going to win some eye-popping games. They're going to beat a Texas. They might even beat
Baylor at
Houston
home.
or a Baylor. Like, do not count BYU out ever, even against the great Houston right now. On the Cougars' home floor.
Look, home games only. What are the losses? Home games only. Iowa State's going to be a tough game. Houston is your toughest home game of the season.
BYU's given an 81% chance to beat Texas in Provo.
How about that?
According to ESPN's Basketball Power
Kansas
Index.
State and Texas at home. Those are tough games. UCF, you got to win that one at home.
At Kansas, if you told
Baylor at home.
BYU's got a 40% chance to win at Kansas.
Wow. That one's the most shocking. It's lower at Iowa State. Why is that?
What in the world?
Look at that number. That's weird.
Again, because BYU has been so efficient and so consistent, and the rebounding margin has been so good, and the assist-to-turnover ratio and the balance, the way they're sharing the basketball, the way they're shooting the three.
BYU's going to miss some threes and not win some games, and they're going to get out-athleticismed by some NBA guys here and there. That's not the issue. It's can you win enough? And can BYU win half the games in league play? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Protect your home court. Protect your home court. Go 6-3 or 7-2 in Provo.
I know Dave mentioned like 8-1 at home. I was like, hey, that's a little ambitious for me, but like it's not out of the question that BYU could do that.
Mark Pope said yesterday to Jim Rome, losing streaks in this league are a thing. He knows.
Yeah.
He's fully anticipating that BYU at some point will probably have a losing streak of some sort, but that's just part of the deal here.
Just make it 2 and not 3.
Try and avoid the 3.
Yeah. If you go on the Sunflower road trip and you lose to Kansas State and Kansas, not a huge deal. You
Come home and win.
You got to rebound after that. Yeah.
Our question of the day. You heard ESPN's BPI numbers. They're wild. They give BYU the second best chance to win the Big 12. Where do you expect BYU to finish in the conference? Bradley Spindle on Instagram says top 5. Okay, he continues. BYU has potential to be number 1, but this is an elite conference where 5th would still be a respectable finish. 5th would be an elite finish. 5th would be elite.
Yeah, I even use the E word on that. If BYU, I'm not worried about Baylor or Kansas and Houston per se. BYU's ranked above Baylor right now, but Baylor to me is kind of in that upper tier, right? Of the
Iowa
top
State,
three.
TCU, Kansas State.
It's the top three. It's everybody else. Can you pick off a couple of those? If you get one of the Kansas, Baylor, Houston games total, I'm happy with that. I don't need like a winning record in those. I need you to, as you mentioned, Kansas State, Texas, TCU, Iowa State. Those are the teams where you got to play well against those and kind of go 500, and then you got to clean house with the Oklahoma States, UCFs, and West Virginias.
A top 5 finish would at worst require BYU to have a winning record, like 10-8. If you want BYU to finish in the top 5, you're going to have at least a 10-8 mark.
No question.
Eric Evanson, 22 on X. Maybe. All the rankings seem like paper tigers. I can't truly trust that.
All the rankings for BYU, like metrics, is saying?
I can't truly trust that the team will be as good as Ken Palm says they can be.
Well,
surely.
Well, no one's thinking of BYU as one of the top 5 teams in the country. Just the metrics say they are.
The voters think they're a top 12 team.
Well, there's a difference. There's a
100%.
There's a difference.
100%. Eric continues. Surely BYU has improved from last year, but coming in and contending right away for a Big 12 championship year one seems like a fairy tale.
No, I'm not convinced they will contend for a Big 12 championship quite yet. I need to see half the Big 12 play to really know.
No, you and I are settling in closer to 500 record. Yeah.
Yes. Like middle of the pack-ish, like 5 to 8 range is where BYU
still great.
Like. Yes, because it's more important to get a 4, 5, or 6 seed in the NCAA tournament than it is anything else. Standings, record in the league, like all that contributes, certainly. I don't care about the standings because there may just be a bunch of great teams.
Yeah.
And if they all beat each other up and whatever, it's all about quad 1 and 2 wins and avoiding quad 3 and 4 losses, which BYU just won't have opportunities to do so.
And I love it.
which is really nice.
I love it.